Hello everyone, it's AJ, and today we are talking about episode 6 of Bungo Stray Dogs season 4. I cannot believe we're basically halfway through the season, like actual what the fuck. And well, the pacing in this fucking episode, it's just like, you know what, let's just go through so many fucking chapters, because why not? But yeah, so let's just dive into it, shall we? So we start off the episode and it's like, as we've seen in the trailers, just Fukazawa getting award, the Shikyo Awards are basically for all the work that the agency has done, mostly with dealing with Fjord at that point, and then it was like, oh, by the way, they also like dealt with the big fucking whale in the sky. Yeah, remember that from like season 2? That was so long ago. But yeah, I just loved the fact that there was like two guys like outside and they're like talking shit. They're just like, what the fuck is with this agency? They're like, they're not even a public organisation and yet they won this award. Like, fishy. But then like one of them's like, well, they were like, they did this and they did that, so it's justified. And then they start trashing the fucking special division. Like, nobody with abilities, like, the gifted are just getting absolutely slammed by these two wee guys that are outside the fucking, like, award ceremony. And then the guy that had presented the award, right, he just, like, comes through and just was like, sup, by the way, it doesn't really matter what you think because, well, the agency's going fucking down in, like, the most, like, sus way ever. It's like ominous and like, yes, well, the agency is just about to shine and whatnot. It's like, alright mate, like, see if you didn't know, like, you'd just be like, okay, that's a bit strange mate. Obviously, if you're a manga reader, you fucking know what's coming, so it's just like, you bitch. And then we roll in the AP that just spoils everything. Oh, Jesus, that fucking OP. A banger of a tune, but my god. And then we come back and we have Kunikida and Ashishi just like going at it, just going at each other. Like, well, Ashishi's trying to attack Kunikida and Kunikida just goes, nope. I love the fact that Kunikida's like teaching Ashishi how to fight. It's like very cute. I love it so much. And I just love that like Kunikida just fucking insults him as well. He's like, hey, so the tiger is strong, but you as Ashishi are weak as fuck. Like, you need to get better. Get good, mate. Like, Kunikida's just so fucking savage about it and just then goes, right, time for work. Poor Ashishi's just sitting there just like, So they go to the agency, right, and then they're having this whole fucking meeting about this whole like murder society because some really, really, really messed up murders have happened. And they're all connected and whatnot, and it's like, oh yes, it's like the 5 deadly omens and whatnot. But Ashley points out, it's like, hey, there's only 4 crimes there, like, what the fuck? And it's like, oh yeah, so there's going to be a 5th, and it's like, then because I would just go, there's not going to be a 5th because we're going to stop it. And then Rambo just goes, nah, fuck that. I ain't getting involved. Because obviously, at the end of the last episode, we got the pew pew of, don't do this, by the way, do not take this big ass case that's coming, i.e. this murder society. And, yeah, it'll be the downfall of the agency, so don't fucking touch it. And Fukazawa just goes, haha, overturned, we're doing this, suck it, Rambo. But the thing is, like, Fukazawa knows, because obviously Rambo would have told him, like, hey, by the way, like, Mushi basically got murdered because he warned me that the fact that something's going to happen to us if we take this case. Which is fair. So, obviously Rambo just leaves and just goes, nah, fuck this, I ain't dealing with this. And Kunikida tries to go after him, because I was just like, no, don't leave him, like, he's going to inspect this whole, like, downfall of the agency, because when we take this case, we're going to solve this fucking murder. So, Rambo's dealing with his story, we're dealing with ours, and ours is fucked. Also, can I just talk about the fact that Yusana looks so good? Like, I just, oh, see just like that little, like, 2 seconds we got of her just sitting there. So nice. But, yeah. So after that, like, we join actually just, like, on the move and whatnot, and he gets a phone call, and it's fucking Angle. Like, hi, sir. Where the fuck have you been? And he's like, sup, where's Dazai? He's not answering his phone. Not that he's, like, the best person to communicate with, but, like, I'm trying to get a hold of him. He ain't answering. I kind of need him. Actually, he goes like, yeah, I have no fucking clue. We never really know where he is, like, half the time. Like, I know I generally have a better idea because I end up going to find him, but he ain't here. I'm out and about. It ain't happening. And then Angle just goes, well, I'm just going to tell you, by the way, so there's this whole thing with the Decay of Angels that you know from the, like, the Murder Society thing, and, well, we're pretty convinced that the government's involved, so our government officials have, like, done all this shit, and, yeah, you better watch out, so don't really trust anybody. Lo and behold, here is the sussy fucking government guy that presented the award at the beginning, and just like, hi, I just conveniently was around. I was at that coffee shop in the corner, and I saw you, and I thought I would ask how the murder thing was going on. And it actually just goes, I'm not going to tell you anything because of what Angle just said, and I'd rather trust Angle than you. Also, the fact that, like, he uses his, like, tiger abilities to try, like, to smell him. Just like, yes, intense smelling. It's like, no coffee. It's like, you're a lying wee bitch. It's very handy, don't get me wrong. It's a very handy ability. The fact that, obviously, you can smell out the fact that he was not in a coffee shop, because you would smell the coffee, even if he didn't have a coffee. But, yeah. And I love, like, all the excuses that actually just comes up with to try and get away from him, because he's like, I don't want to talk to you, so I need to go, like, feed, like, the boss's, like, chameleon or whatever it was again, and then runs, like, so fucking fast. And it's honestly, like, it's the best representation of, like, how fast this fucking episode is going, like, through all the chapters. Because it's just like, here's this bit, and 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 this bit. And not to be outdone, after Ashley runs away, we then join Dazai, because obviously we already talked about him, so let's just flash to Dazai, shall we? And he's just casually at the races. Oh, like, I was so excited for this scene, like, Dazai getting arrested, right? Juno appears, like, Juno, honestly, Juno's so fucking adorable, I love him. Oh, him and his white and his red hair, love him. Sorry, I'm just gonna be like that, okay? So just bear with me. And the fact that he's just like, he comes up and he's just like, so who won? By the way, because I'm blind as fuck, like, I can't clearly see, even though there probably would have been an announcer being like, hey, it was like number 9 that won. And, but he's just like, thank you very much. So it's like, you won then? And Dazai's like, wait, how do you know? And it's like, I can just hear it. I can, like, tell by your heartbeat that you won. It's just like, okay. And then, boom, cuffs. It's like, hi, so I'm gonna name off all the fucking crimes that you've done. Honestly, I love it so much. It's like, oh yes, here's, like, the X amount of hundreds of murders that you've committed, all the extortion, all the fraud, all the robberies and shit. And I'm just like, yes, I love this scene, but I fucking hate how they animated it. I'm so gutted. Because he even says, it's like, oh, I know what, like, tomorrow's gonna bring for you and everything like that. And, like, in the manga, Dazai's so fucking goofy, and I love the scene. He's just like, oh, really? He doesn't get to be goofy, and I don't like it. No, I kind of had a suspicion because in the trailer, see, when we saw it, because it was, like, obviously, it's a very iconic scene, unfortunately. And his facial expression was already wrong. And I'm like, fuck, they're going to do this wrong. Like, Bones, for the most part for this season, had been doing very well overall. No! I think it's just because I was really looking forward to this scene. Doesn't help. Oh, but anyway, so after, like, Juno's, like, listed, like, all the fucking crimes, we get, like, a cut to, like, this group of, like, government officials in a fucking building. Like, pure secret hideout and everything like that. I was like, oh, look at us, boo boo. And then it's like talking about the fact that obviously the hunting dogs has now arrested Dazai. Obviously not stating his name, but obviously it's easy just to be like, hey, by the way, boom, there was an arrest. Boom, next scene, oh, they've arrested somebody. So, and then like they go on and on and on about like all the other crimes the agency's committed. And it's like the fact that they've like harbinged a murderer like the like Gyoka, like obviously she's technically killed like 35 people, and then it's like, oh yeah, there are connections with the Port Mafia, and then they bring out like Yosano's backstory, just being like, hey tease, this is happening. It's like, oh shit. It's like, oh god, that's going to be happening soon. I'm like, oh fuck no. Oh no. I swear to fuck now, see if they ruin that backstory, I am going to be pissed. I want to cry buckets, Bones. I want to cry to the high heavens over that backstory, and if you fail me on that, I'm going to be so disappointed. You've been doing so well, but this episode has hindered my love for you for this season, and you better watch out. Oh, but yeah, so then they get the main sussy government guy. I can't be bothered learning his name. I just can't be bothered. I'm not gonna lie, because there's no point. So he goes off and his assistant goes like, hey, by the way, we found the list of the assassinations that Tsukuzawa was given, like, at the end, like, during the war, like, the end of the war period kind of thing. Like, all the officials that kind of helped, like, end it and whatnot. And he's like, great, I've got all this evidence and whatnot. And it's like, right, I want to, like, meet up with the guy that, like, gives us all this information. And the assistant just goes, oh yeah, I've already arranged that for you. And he's like, oh, brilliant, when? And it's like, oh, right now. And just like with the policeman in the car on the last episode, here comes a hand, there's a gun, pew, 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 pew. And lo and behold, it's NIKOLAI. Yay! And he's so fucking adorable once again, because that is just what he's like. Honestly, the saving grace of this episode is fucking NIKOLAI. But even still, there's only so far that, like, his perfection can bring, because unfortunately he also got hindered, and that's not cool. Oh, but, like, after that, we go back to Dazai, who's basically flirting with Juno, because Juno is just like, yes, I am, like, locking you up, you, like, scoundrel and everything like that, and Dazai's just like, oh, look at us getting along. I love it. I also just love, like, Juno's line. It's just like, I can, like, I can hear your rage. Like, oh, like, I fucking love that line. It's just so fucking cool. And it's just, like, just imagining all the anger, like, pent up in Dazai. And it's just like, oh, I really love, like, Dazai would have, like a blow up, but, like, an anger blow up. That would be terrifying, but oh, it'd be so good. But yeah. I just love that line. It's just so good. It's just like, also the fact that it was like Dazai just kind of semi-flirting with him, like tapping their wee hands together, all chained up and all that, and then it's just like, so, why are you just arresting me now? Because, well, most of those things happened like over 4 years ago. Not gonna count about what I've done since then. And it's just like, wow, the information just magically came to life. At fifth, it was just like a light switch. It was just turned on. And then we find out that Mushi actually wasn't dead. They've just kind of like beat him up to shit to make him like release all the information about Dazai and all that, and all the crimes that technically the ATA's been involved with. And it hurts. Like, because Mushi doesn't deserve that. It's not cool. Sad times. Sad times. But then, like, after that, we get NIKOLAI doing his, like, live hostage video, because he's just like, yeah, you know what? I've just, like, tied up all of these, like, government officials. Like, look at them, and they've got this lovely little chainsaw around their neck, like, their waist, like, ooh, so fancy, so fashionable. It's gonna cut them in half. Yeah. Oh, I just love Nikolai. Even he's done like the most horrendous murders and everything like that, and it's just like, I'm a cute little guy. And even as he's like talking through this video, it's just like one reason, like second reason, and third reason, it's like fourth reason, it's like, fuck, I don't have a fourth reason. It's like, I'm still alive, I don't like this, and it's the panic of getting to the the camera. He's like, oh no, I've just said this live. Ah. Honestly, it's a mood, and I hate that. After the whole like hostage video and whatnot, Kurikida clearly phones up Rampo and be like, hey, this is like the situation, by the way. And Rampo's like, right, cool, well, I think I've got a clue. Like, I'm just outside this random ass building, like, I'm gonna go in and shit. And lo and behold, it's Tanada, like the guy from the head of the Special Divisions agent, like, department and whatnot. And he's kind of tied up and basically, like, on the brink of dead. Like, he's not in a good thing. Although he does flop onto the floor, but still, he's not good. And with that, we cut to Ashley, right, running towards, like, the house and whatnot to get to Nikolai. Because obviously, tiger powers, you can run faster than an average human. So he gets there first, and he's like, right, well, obviously, a little nod to the fight that he was having with Kunokida, because Kunokida is like, right, you need to stop heading, like, straight on. You need to stop attacking head on. Like, you need to think of alternative moves and whatnot. So he notices that there's, like, an underground passage, like, into the building. So he's like, right, I'll take the underpass thing. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's fine until Nikolai appears. Here comes the gun again. But obviously Ashley's a wee bit more nimble than the average person, so he gets to just jump around like nobody's business. And even Nikolai like comments on it. It's like, ooh, you're a lot more nimble than I knew about. It's like, oh, I like this. You're gonna be fun. Honestly, Nikolai must have just looked at Ashley and just went, ooh, this is gonna be fun. You're gonna be a great game to play with. So yeah. So they have their kind of little converse and whatnot. Like, this is another scene that could have been done so much better, but, like, the mood just wasn't right. Like, it was fine, but it could have been so much better. So much better. Like, go read the manga scene. So much better. But despite, like, obviously how fast they're kind of, like, going through it, it's kind of unfortunately understandable. Like, obviously they can't animate like every single fucking page, but it just feels like they just kind of didn't get the mood correctly, or like the atmosphere of the scene, which is a pain as a manga reader. But it's probably fine as an anime only, so like, yeah. I'm not gonna spoil much about like manga stuff right now. I'm just gonna like, there's gonna be a moment where I'll talk about manga, but I will give you the warning, so don't worry. I'm still trying to be good. So they're having a wee kind of mini fight and whatnot. Ashley goes like, well, fuck it, like after doing Nikolai's quiz, because Nikolai's like, right, quiz time, right, what's my ability? And obviously Ashley does very well on the test. Yay, Ashley, you didn't get to go to school, but hey. So after that he goes like, well, obviously I can't hide from you because like his ability works within like 30 meters and shit, so I can't hide because he's going to be able to find me and attack me anyway, so I'm just gonna attack head on. I just clearly didn't learn anything from Kurikida whatsoever. So Nikolai just goes, right, here we go again, we're bringing out the gun, pew pew, and well, that would have happened if it wasn't for the fact that Ashley just went like that, hunk, and just like bit onto the fucking gun. And then like he goes, like he rips the gun out, right? Pretty cool, right? And you're thinking, right, he's gonna get at least a hit in. Nah, Nikolai just goes, oh really, bitch? Opens up the cape. Here comes a fucking wooden pole, like. What the fuck? Obviously knocks Ashley all the way back and whatnot. It's like, What? Just like, oh yes, I'm just gonna like casually like hit you with this pole. But then like we just flip back to Rambo and like Tanada basically going like, hey, I know like why the Decay of Angels is here, like I know what they want to do and shit, and it's all to do with you. Shock, horror. And then he talks about like the book, the dreaded fucking book. Like, my god, the power that this fucking book holds. So, goes on about how there was like a single page that they had that they were using to examine, and they got a hold of it, and basically anything that anyone can write on this page will somewhat like alter reality. However, you have to be good at writing. It has to make like prolific sense. Like, your prose has to be somewhat realistical in like what you present. So it's like, imagine, right, the book in the hands of fucking fanfic writers, man. They would be scary. That is literally the fear of like a fanfic having this book could be like, oh god, the power that they could hold. So after we like started to learn about the book, we go back to the whole saying NIKOLAI fight, and just like, NIKOLAI's just like, do you know what? I'm just gonna like grab your leg and start stroking your leg through my wee portal. And we're gonna have a wee kind of semi-serious chat, because you're going to ask me, why do you kill people? And I'm going to tell you, it's like, well, first of all, I like to do it for fun, because I'm a little crazy little bitch. But secondly, because, like, I'm going to just tell you the semi-real answer, and it's because, well, I feel trapped and shit. Like, do you like birds? I'm going to tell you about how I am like a bird, and I got to fly away, because I don't know where my home is. Sorry, that's a terrible joke. But yeah, so it goes on this whole like bird analogy, and like how Fyodor's like the only one who like kind of understands that how if he joins the Decay of Angels, like he'll be freed and whatnot, because they understand each other so much more. Although that bit was like very cut short. Like, there's so many, like, so much more to that scene like in the manga. So if you really should, like I said, you should really go read that scene. Like, go read that scene. It's so much better. You get so much more context of like what, like who like NIKOLAI is like a lot more. Especially like Mori's kind of motives as well. You get a better understanding. You still don't know like fuck about him, right? But you have a better understanding, because you're just like, you're a wee like fucked up boy. Cool. I can understand a bit better now why you're this off your heat. Oh, but it's like, see, because he's acting normal, it's actually more terrifying when NIKOLAI's just talking normal, because it's just like, obviously he presents himself as like, hi, I'm talking like this, I'm very out there and extravagant, but now we're going to talk about something very serious. I'm going to take off the little thing that's over my eye. I'm going to tell you about the fact that, yes, I am very sane. I know killing is bad. I do feel the guilt. However, it's like, oh my god, mate. Like, NIKOLAI, like, what are you doing? Also, the fact that he's so adorable at times as well, and it doesn't really help that either, because he's like, I'm just gonna make little stars. Ding! I loved those bits. I fucking loved them. It was great. I need more NIKOLAI with stars. Like, they're just so adorable. And then, like, NIKOLAI just goes, you know what? I'm just kind of tired of this little chit chat that we're having. The show's over now. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give you back your leg, and it's just like pushing it in. But it's like, I'm gonna put it in the ground though. So like, and have fun getting that out, bitch. I'm gonna go. Bye. So then he teleports out. Actually, she's just like, my leg. Honestly, he has no luck with his legs, man. And then we go back to all the government officials who are now like tied up with their lovely little chains and stuff, and it's just like NIKOLAI just appears and goes like, hi again, we're gonna have fun. And Nikolai's obviously just explaining things again, but then we get like the wee kind of clips of somebody clearly writing on this page and is writing like what Nikolai's saying. So we're seeing that being written, which is very fucking cool. And then like we see that the authorities and like the agency are like obviously arriving and whatnot by this point. And like they send Kenji to like not get rid of the authorities, but keep the authorities like away from them, because it's like, right, they're not meant to come in because like we're the ones that are meant to go in, and if anyone else goes, they're just gonna like the hostages, which like obviously they don't want to kill. Then there's like the authorities like are just like out the way, and like they're tracking like the situation, like they've got like snipers and like cameras on them like through the room that's obviously holding the hostages and whatnot. And so we get to the point where like the agency ends up at the door. They're like listening in. It's just before 6 o'clock, so they were told they had to be there before 6. Well, they had to get there by 6, whereas it was like an automatic timer was just gonna like fucking off them, right? And they're just like getting ready to go in. They're going through their whole plan and everything like that. And Nikolai's just like, perfect, showtime. And it's a couple of minutes before 6, remember. So the government guy's being like, hey, no, you said 6, like, no, this isn't right. So he's just like, nope, this is correct. Starts it up. The normal kind of officials are getting like chopped up. The agency goes, oh fuck, we need to go in. And just as they're about to go in, Nikolai's talked about the fact that like people are going to take off their hoods, because you can see like the helpers are got like white cloaks and all that on. So they're taking down their hoods. The authorities are like, right. They're taking down their hoods. We're going to see who they are and whatnot. It's perfect, right? And then it's like, at that moment, it's the agency that is under the white hoods, and it's like, what the actual fuck? And they're just standing there like, wait, how did this happen? What? And then there's just Nikolai just casually like tied up in his wee seat with his legs spread out like a fucking whore, and just talking to them, like they're like, you're the murderer, and he's like, oh yeah, so I am with my legs like this and I'm tied up and stuff. And they're like, why are you doing that? It's like, because you're going to witness me be free. And then boom, there's the chain starting for him, and he's honestly, the Oscar winning performance goes to fucking Nikolai Gogol. The screaming, the tears, everything was so good. And then he's like turning to the government guy, because obviously this is now part of the whole story and whatnot. Things are starting to get rewritten. And he goes, right, government guy, like, say who it is, reveal who the guys in white are. And then it's like, it's the agency. And it's like, dun dun dun. And then that's the end of the episode. It's like, here we go, we have entered the shit goes down arc. Like, like it went through so quickly, and like there were so many ways it could have been better, and I've already obviously said that. But like there was some good parts, but there was also some really, really poor parts, and like I'm kind of gutted because I watched it and I was kind of like, oh, like I was so upset. But I think it's because like I know this is like the build up for like this whole ginormous fucking arc that like still is ongoing. Obviously it's still split up into like little mini parts and whatnot, but I just like to mentally consider it as one big ass fucking arc. And it just, the setup wasn't there for me, and I hate it. Like they could have done so much better. But anyway, let me know your wee thoughts down below about if you liked it or not. And well, how do you think it's going to go? How much pain are we going to go through? But on that wee note, I'm now going to have a little spoily moment, so if you're anime only, best go bye-bye, because I don't want to spoil a thing for you, so save yourselves. But, so, hello manga readers that are up to date. Right, so, Chapter 105.5, right? The one that just came out this month. So, basically last week, right? So, Tanada, when he was talking to Rampo, right, mentioned about how the guy that attacked him took the information from his brain, right? And basically, as manga readers, that would basically just like, hey, that is like Sigma, because that's Sigma's ability, right? Sigma, like, confirmed that his ability was able to extract information from people, right? He's able to store all this information from people. However, in the chapter, he said that they had to be dead, right? Tanada was clearly alive. So, is the ability getting changed, or is there a certain degree of information that he can maybe take from somebody? Like, is it even maybe like they could be like semi-unconscious? Or whatever? Like, I'm very confused by that point, but I don't know if that's also me just being very picky about manga things, or if it's just a mistranslation or something like that. So, please let me know if you feel the same. Obviously, if it's spoilery, obviously try not to spoil everyone else, because that's not fair. But, yeah, let me know your wee thoughts about that, because clearly that's the only thing I can keep thinking about since I read, like, obviously, that chapter, obviously, last week, and then, like, when I watched that scene again, and I was like, wait a minute. That's basically saying it's Sigma, because obviously Sigma is part of the Decay of Angels, and it makes complete sense. But the chapter says he has to be dead. I don't understand. But anyway, we'll see where the rest of the season goes. I see the rate that they're going at. See if they actually do reach like chapter 88. It's going to be fucking scary, man. Especially since they've teased it in the OP, obviously. So yeah, the pacing is very scary now, and I don't know if I like it. I want the ride to calm down, please. I want it to slow down. Oh, but anyway, until next time, I'm AJ, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.